Hello everyone, it's Amy and I'm here for week 21 of Build Your Stash and Craft. And this week we are doing our own homemade dies and we are also doing the shaving cream painting. So I just wanted to show you I got two of these at Walmart for 50 cents a piece after Easter. So if you were lucky enough to get any kind of an Easter egg kit, there are things, that you're going to get in there that you're going to be able to save. In this kit that I got some glitter. Even this we might be able to use for something, even to make marks on our jelly prints. Just bend it like this, and then you can do it like this on your jelly plate, and it'll make really cool marks. There is a wax crayon, a little bit of glue, all of these little circles that you punch out of the back. On mine, I got these to hold up my eggs, but they'd make cute little, on the bottom of a little boy's birthday card. Wouldn't that be cute? So this one says Happy Easter, which you could use next year for Easter cards. You could also just cut the bunnies off and use the bunnies. I cut out the label because I may want to use those letters. They're nice and bright, so I might want to use the letters for something. I cut the little bunny off the front. There's a whole little thing of stickers that you can use for little kids' cards. I cut off the front. I might want the word neon. I might want to cut out this bunny or this swirl. I left this hole. There's grass down here on the bottom. I don't know how I'm going to want to use this, so I left it that way. And then we have our back. Now the thing is with this one, don't throw it away because that makes a great stencil. So those are all of the little things you're going to get, along with the fact that you're going to be able to make your dies. So I'm going to clean this up really quick, and I'm going to fill my bottles up with warm water, and I will be right back. Oh, and the bottles that I got, I'll do that really quick. I picked up 3 packages of these bottles because I was able to get the Easter egg kits for $1. So I am using just the dripper bottles, and then I'm going to wind up with 3 spray bottles left over for another time. Okay, now I'll get the hot water and I'll be right back, or warm water. Okay, I have all of my bottles filled up halfway. I only filled them up halfway, and I'm going to see how deep my dyes are. If I want to make my color lighter, I can always add more water, but you can't take any out. So these colors are pretty easy to tell, like which ones go with which ones. But if you have 2 packets, sometimes with these little dye tablets, it's hard to tell what color is what color. So the way to test that, I'm going to get these out of here first. Just have a damp paper towel, and then just take your tablet and wipe it on the towel. That one is yellow, and I think this one is the other yellow. Yes, it is. So I'm going to put those together. See, it just comes off in color like that. Just to make sure, you wouldn't want to put like one of your oranges and one of your reds together. Not that it would hurt anything, but then you wouldn't have the separate colors. So, that one is green. This one's going to be green. Yeah. See, that one looked like it was orange or something, and it was green. So, but you don't necessarily need to know what color you have unless you can't tell what's what. But there we go. I've tested them all just to make sure that they were the right colors. And now I'm just going to, well, let's just put the top on to give them a shake. I'm going to put the top on, and I'm going to kind of swirl them. And hopefully they will melt. I did get a cheaper brand to test with, and they melted. So hopefully these will melt also. They should. And on the back instructions of mine, it says to put in some vinegar and some water. But right on there, it has an asterisk that says, with the red one, do not add vinegar. So I'm figuring if the red one is going to go without the vinegar in the Easter egg, when you're doing your Easter eggs, I believe the vinegar helps the color stick to the eggs. So I don't think it has anything to do really with melting of the colors. So, and like I said, it said right in there, do not put the vinegar in with the red. So, but, all right, so these are really turning out nice. We've got, I wonder if I put white behind this, if it would show up better. Well, not necessarily. We've got a nice purple, orange, reddish pink, blue, yellow, and green. And I'm going to stop right here and continue shaking these until they melt. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I let them sit, kind of shaking them a little here and there for about 5 minutes in the warm water. The yellow completely dissolved and the orange just about did. The rest of them, because I was impatient, I just took off the top, and then I just took my fork and just kind of reached down in there and just smushed what was left against the bottom and the sides. And then just give it a good shake so you're not dripping all over the place. And make sure that you wipe your fork off before you stick it in another bottle so that you don't cross-contaminate your colors. I don't know how long I would have had to wait for them, or if they would have. I remember sometimes as a kid, some of them never really did dissolve. They sat in the bottom, and every time you stuck your egg in there, you got a really dark spot on one, you know, where it touched that. But then this turned out even pretty. So now they're all ready. And what you're going to need is this is the bottom, this is my jelly plate. Remember, we made the jelly plate in the little pan, and then we flipped it upside down in the big pan. Well, I just flipped it back into my little pan to have a place to set it. And I'm going to use this pan for our shaving cream prints. And the thing is with the shaving cream is it goes a long way. Don't forget to shake it. It does have to be the foam kind. And I had to tape my top back on because I couldn't get it off. I had to have my husband get it off for me. And so I just set it on top of there and taped it on because I was afraid to push it down. Because actually I had pushed it down and then was going to get it open again and couldn't. So I figured I better make sure that I could get the top off. Okay, first off, when you start to spray it, it goes on, but it grows. Secondly, just a little covering on the bottom of your pan is going to make you prints forever. And once your shaving cream gets so muddy that you may not want to use it again, you don't want to have a ton of it to throw away. Even this right here is a whole lot of shaving cream. Now I let mine sit the first time that I used it, and did it again like the next day, and it worked just fine. So you don't have to throw it away right away, but when you're done and you're not going to play anymore, just scrape it off and put it in the garbage if you have too much left and you don't want to waste that much paper, because you can just keep going and going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. Okay, you just want to kind of, I'm using the scraper here, and I'm using this not only to spread it out, but we'll use this to pull the shaving cream off of our paper after we pull it off. So you are going to need something flat. If you didn't get this for your texture paste, I think that's what we got it for. You just need something like this. Even a piece of cardboard, a nice really sturdy piece of cardboard will work just fine. So I have grabbed out, I took out a couple of pieces out of my scribble pad. I took a couple pieces out of the sketch pad. I have a couple of our cardstock and a couple of envelopes. So all you're going to do is you're going to start with, I'm going to start with my lighter colors, and then after I've used those a little bit, I'll do some with some darker colors. Oops. And you just kind of want to shake it on. You don't really need too much. It kind of, don't forget to shut. And warning, this is dye. And if you use the food coloring, you're going to make this the same way. And just take your food coloring and just put in as many drops as till it's the color that you think that you want. And then, of course, with the food coloring, if it's not as dark as you want, you can always add more. So, and then just take, I've got one of our stir sticks here, and you just take this and just kind of put a pattern in it. Now, if you just kind of, you're not really stirring it or mixing it, you're moving it. So, you know, you kind of want to think possibly about the way that you're going. And don't go too much. Because you don't want to just turn it all into one color. And this is going to give us this really nice pattern. So just take your paper, smooth it on top, kind of like doing a jelly plate. And that's going to soak right up into your paper. You want to make sure that you make contact everywhere. Wherever you don't make contact with the color, you won't get the color even if it's there. Now, you know, we'll have white spots because we were not completely covered with color. That looks pretty good. And see how the color has soaked right through there? And then you're just going to peel it off, like from the corner seems to work the best. And then lay it down. Take your scraper and just scrape off the shaving foam that's on there and wipe it on the side of your... If you have a lot of shaving cream on, you need to wipe it every single time. And there we go. There is print number 1. Isn't that cool? So now you can take another print if you want to, because there's plenty more color there. You can add to it. Let's just add to it. We've got some time here. And with these, you could also put in a little bit of your mica powders, your eyeshadow, and just make sure that you shake it really well before you use it to get that all mixed in. If you got some of the sprayers, you can make yourself some colored ink. And put some mica in there. If you do that, you want to make sure that you cut the bottom of your straw off. That's the straw that's inside the sprayer, so that it's not touching the bottom. Because if you leave it touching the bottom, it will clog up. See how your sprayers, this goes all the way down into here? You're going to want to cut that on an angle about a ½ an inch above the bottom of this, so that the mica that settles on the bottom does not clog your tube. Excuse me. I'm going to try a piece of our little scribble paper, which kind of feels like newsprint. And we'll see how this one, and they come out so different. They come out so pretty. And you know, we've got our jelly prints and we've got our watercolor paper, and all of these are very beautiful abstract backings, but they're all very different. And that's the really cool thing about it, is these don't look like your jelly prints or your watercolor paper, either one. Okay, and so there we go. And then you just continue. Now, eventually, the more colors you add, not all colors blend. Green does not like to play nice with just about anybody. Green plays nice with yellow. But that's kind of almost it. So, and if you want to, you can just like take it and draw it out like this. You can leave the dots. You can kind of draw a circle with it. Or in it, I guess I should say. It doesn't really follow you that much. And I think that I'll just put some circles in some of these other areas. Because we don't want it all to be that same kind of marbled as the first two. We want a little bit difference. And we'll take a piece of our cardstock and put it on this one. So when it starts to get muddy, you can just flatten it all out when it gets really muddy, and then just start all over again with your dots. Now that muddy color will be your background, and your dots will be your foreground. So wherever we're seeing white on these papers, you will see that muddy color, but it actually, with the bright colors on top, it looks pretty nice. So with your cardstock is a heavier paper. It takes a little bit for the ink to soak into it, so you're going to want to make sure that you give it enough time, especially if you look at the pattern before you put the paper down and think, I love this. If you love it, make sure you give your paper time to actually soak up that ink. So there's that one. And these just work so cool. Now you can also do this with a thin down paint. I'm going to, I want to say I'm going to guess. It seems like I've done that a long time ago, but I'm not 100% positive. Whatever it is, you just need it to be a little bit fluid, but look at that. Ooh, I really like that one. I like that one a lot. Okay, so I like that one a lot. Let's see. I have a envelope here. And I'm going to put this on here and see how it looks. I was wondering how it would look with the, not textured background, patterned background on these envelopes. And I also wondered if it would stain the window at all. I don't have any idea. We're going to find out together. Now, I already pulled off the top layer of this same pattern, so it's not quite as wet on top. The color is still there, but you might have to let it sit just a little bit to get that color to soak in. It'd be really cool if it actually did stick to the window, but I don't think it looks like it's going to. That's pretty cool. I'm not super positive. I like the dark background, the patterned background. I think I much prefer it on white. Okay, let's take the shaving cream off the window and see if we got, nah, nothing. So it doesn't want to dye the window. But that would make a nice like man's card because it's kind of not in your face. It's more dark. Okay, so I'm going to have to stop right here and hope that I can get this uploaded. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we'll play just a little bit more. We haven't used our blue or our green. This is purple. I want to try the blue. Oh, and what I was saying earlier was, warning, warning, this is dye. So what it touches, and you don't have to squeeze the bottles. I keep forgetting that. Just give it a little shake and plenty comes out. This is going to dye anything it touches. So if you don't want it on your hands, then you might, if you have gloves, you might want to wear a pair of gloves. And if you get it on your countertop, if your countertop's white, it's going to be there for quite some time. So that's just something to think about when you're using this, is that it is dye and it's going to stain whatever it touches. Okay, so let's just take a copy of that one. And always the color that you put on last usually stands out the most because basically it's on the top of your paper. But pretty much everything that you have behind it is still going to show through, at least somewhat. So there is that one. Well, and that looks pretty. And sometimes the more colors that you get on there, you know, the more you're getting your white space filled in, the prettier it looks. And you can always, right from the start, you don't have to leave white paper. You can put more coloring on it and spread it around. And I just want to show you next also, remember this? Just kind of pick a spot. Push it down in there. Just kind of want to make sure that the foam is at least to the edge of my cardboard there, so when I put the paper on, it will soak it up. Remember the old Jolly prints? The ones we didn't like? I ripped them in half so that I can use the back side of that paper and see what it turns out like. Again, just kind of massage it like your jelly plate, except lighter, because it doesn't have the firmness of the jelly plate, so you don't want to squish that shaving cream all over the place. I just want to make sure that it's actually come into contact. And let's see how that worked out. There we go. We have circles. That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm going to take that off. I'm just going to set that aside. Oops. I don't know how I did it, but I got a little bit of blue on my first print that I did, and I just looked over there and I have a little bit of blue on my jelly plate now. At least it's on the bottom. A couple more things. Let's add some green, and we'll pull one more print, and then I wanted to also show you what it looks like when you spread your background all in one spot. Like I said, and when you're doing this, you know, it's like, oh, I didn't think that motion would make something that looks that pretty. And so, you know, just try and remember that. Even if you make yourself a little notebook for your jelly prints, for these, and say, oh, like swiping it makes a leaf effect or something like that. So that you know, like if you find something that you really, really love, you don't forget the next time to do that. So, if you like the way that the swirls look, or you like the way that I remember I did the stars and I really liked that. I forgot all about it until like my fourth piece of paper. So there is that one, and that kind of does make that look like a leaf. You could almost make something that looks like vines with that. And this shaving cream that I got at the Dollar Tree, it's, cheapy shaving cream. It doesn't seem to, the first time I ever tried this a long time ago, I used my husband's shaving cream. And it seemed to stick to the paper more. So this one doesn't seem to stick too much to the paper. You don't have much to scrape off. Okay, so when you're kind of tired of it, then you can just kind of spread it out. The more you mess with it, the more kind of mottled it gets. It's not really quite getting muddy yet. But you can just keep going until it kind of gets how you want it. Now we don't have all the same swirls and the same everything, and you can start over. You're going to have that in your background, but you can start over with basically a new focal point. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So I was kind of thinking that those kind of looked like a feather. A little bit. I don't think this is going to quite turn out the way that I thought. I'm even going to try, never done this before, I'm going to try adding some more. Well, we'll see how that looks. Let's use this half a sheet of paper. But see, that way I've kind of just got that one focal point. But I should get color in the background just very faintly. And if you want it all to be one color, you could just mix this until it all goes one solid color. You don't know what color it's going to be until you get it mixed. Probably some form of a brownish tan, but you never know. Okay, now there we go. And that's what that looks like. I kind of thought I wanted it to look like a feather, but it looks more like some flowers my mom used to have in her garden when I was younger. But it's still pretty cool. And I didn't get any color in here. You could always go back with a little paintbrush and your color and touch that up, but what's going to happen is it would be a lot darker. Or you could try touching it to that, but I'm fine with that. You know, that's the whole thing about abstract, is it's not going to come out exactly how you think it's going to necessarily. And that's the fun part about it. You know, it's all just kind of intuitive. It's just whatever happens. But you can try and control it a touch. And actually, the more you would play with it, the more you would actually be able to control it. I don't know exactly how I want to say that, but like doing these swirls, you'd get better at it. And then you would be able to kind of know exactly how to move your stir stick to make things work the way that you wanted them to work. And isn't anything, that really is just practice. And with these stars, part of the cool part is that as you do this, you draw the color away from the center, and then you usually wind up with like a clear center inside that star. But I think this will probably be my last one, and then I'll go off and get together what we're going to need for next week. It's so hard. I have so many things in my head that I want to do. Trying to pick which one's going to be next is always so hard, because I want to do them all. But I also want to have enough to at least last the year, because I really want to do this for a whole year. But we'll see. Maybe I'll even do it longer. Maybe I won't do it that long. You never know. All right, let's pick this one up on our last piece of cardstock. And like I said, pretty much my shaving cream is the same level as when I started. So you really don't need to have much at all. And it will last you a long time. I've made at least probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've made, I think, 9 or 10 prints, because I did a couple that I was just playing with off of here while I was waiting for my video to download. So it goes a long ways. There we go. And there we go. And see how we've got color in the background now? Just very faintly, but pretty much there's a little bit of white here, and I'm going to guess I didn't touch the paper there. There's white in the center of the flowers because I had moved away everything that was lower. When you do the stars and you go into the center, you're pushing it out like that, you wind up leaving a dent in the middle. And where that dent is, your paper doesn't touch, and that's what gives you that white in the center of those stars, is because you've moved everything away from that center. So Alrighty, so that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I'll get together and we'll just kind of run through them really quick, and I'll show you what we need for next week in just a second. Okay, I'm back with our prints and what we're going to need for next week. I did want to show you that while I was cleaning up, the whole time I was cleaning up, I left this sit on the foam with the dye on it, thinking that the longer you leave an egg in, the darker it gets, to see if possibly if I let it set for a long time, if it would color the plastic. And it did not color the plastic. So I thought that I would let you know that I tried that and it didn't work. And then as I was picking up and I was looking at this one, I noticed that it's double-sided. So all of the thin ones are all double-sided. So that's a really cool way to make your own double-sided paper. Well, that one's got something on the back. But the only thing is the cardstock does not become double-sided just because it's thicker. But you can always do both sides of that. But I just thought it was kind of cool that just with one dyeing, you can make your own double-sided paper, and all of the thin ones are like that. So that's really cool. So these are the papers that we made. I had fun making them, and the more that you play with it and practice with it and get different types of designs in your head as to what you like to do, the prettier your papers will get. So what we're going to need for next week is we are going to need 2 ribbons. Somewheres you want them to be at least 1/4 of an inch and no more than 5/8. This one is 5/8, which is just over 1/2 inch. And you're going to want to get 2 colors that you think look nice together. And then you're also going to need to get, and these I got from the Dollar Tree. This is the only size they have at the Dollar Tree, but Walmart has thinner ones. And then you're going to need to get some double-sided tape from the Dollar Tree. So that's $3 for this week. And we had $6 left over from last week, accounting for the people that had to buy the food coloring. So so we'll have an extra $2, so that'll leave us with $8. And I did just have a question as to what you think that you would like to buy as the next big item. You know, would you like a paper trimmer? Would you like a heat gun? What shall we save for? So because there are bigger items that you may have in your head thinking, I really want to get one of those. Well, we can save for that in our project, and whatever people think the most of what we should get next. And if you're just following along with the series but you already have everything, let me know what you think would be the next good large purchase for our new crafters. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you had fun watching me play with the dyes and the shaving foam. I hope that you try it, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.